Right after, she stepped onto the red carpet, dressed in a stunning white dress that outlined her transformed silhouette. Cameras lit up the night. The internet buzzed with chatter, and headlines exploded everywhere about her unexpected new look. Gayle King, the renowned CBS Mornings co-anchor, acclaimed writer and Oprah's dearest confidant, lit up the event with her energy. It was a glamorous night in New York City for the debut of a moving documentary about Celine Dion's battle with a rare, neurological illness. While Gayle confidently smiled for the cameras, the spotlight wasn't only on the film or her stylish gown. People murmured softly behind the flashing lights, focusing on something more mysterious. Questions were swirling, and she wasn't quite ready to clear the air. Her noticeably slimmer appearance had everyone doing double takes. She looked absolutely stunning, soft waves in her hair, golden heels catching the light, skin radiant, and her makeup nearly perfect. Still, online chatter took a different tone than the red carpet praise. Was it a new weight loss medication, or the same one Oprah had just confessed to using? Gayle hadn't addressed any of it, not even a subtle hint in interviews or posts, and that silence, it only ignited more curiosity from her fans and followers. For someone known for her candidness, always willing to share her views or struggles, this quietness was unusual. It made people look closer, dig deeper into what she wasn't saying. She had recently appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated's swimsuit edition at 69, a bold move in an industry where many step away by that age. She joked about having a burger before the shoot and requesting classy cleavage, drawing laughter and praise. But what stayed unsaid was why the change in her physique happened so suddenly. Yes, she mentioned exercising nearly every day and claimed she felt stronger and healthier than before. Still, some felt like this shift wasn't only skin deep, something else lingered underneath. Her ever-confident smile and lively interviews hid a more vulnerable side. Then came her deeply personal comments on mental well-being. Back in May 2022, she penned an emotional article urging people to treat mental health as an everyday conversation, not just a trend. She openly discussed the pain of grief, the darkness of suicidal thoughts, and how outer beauty can sometimes hide deep inner struggles. Her reflections on the loss of Chesley Christ, so heartfelt and raw, left a lasting impression. Although Chesley, a former Miss USA, appeared to have it all, she tragically ended her own life. Gayle, after a heartfelt conversation with Chesley's mother, shared the one part of the story that struck her the most. It was the message Chesley left behind that said, "Mom, you didn't do anything wrong. You actually did everything, right?" And those words left a lasting ache in Gayle's heart. Gayle's vulnerability when sharing that detail revealed just how much it weighed on her soul. She opened up about how people can carry unimaginable pain even while flashing the brightest smiles. Gayle spoke about the fragility of our emotions, how a single moment can shatter even the strongest among us. She acknowledged how difficult it is to put such inner battles into words, especially when the world expects you to be okay. For someone who's always been a cheerful face on television, that kind of openness was strikingly uncommon. It led many viewers to quietly wonder if Gayle herself was wrestling with something too painful to mention. Later that same year, she revealed that her longtime friend Oprah had been admitted to the hospital for a serious stomach illness. With a careful tone, Gayle shared the news on air, joking lightly that Oprah might not be thrilled about her disclosing it. But what went unsaid, what people couldn't help but notice, was the visible worry on Gayle's face as she spoke. Her trembling tone and eyes said more than her words did, suggesting this health scare might have hit closer to home than anyone realized. Not long afterward, Gayle began to decline public appearances and skip major events, a noticeable change from her usual presence. When she did show up in public, fans couldn't help but notice subtle changes in her appearance. Colleagues at CBS publicly applauded her dedication to fitness and her healthy habits. She brushed it off with humor, crediting regular workouts, hydration, and a commitment to Weight Watchers. But by early 2024, those close to her quietly sensed a deeper shift taking place. On screen, Gayle's demeanor grew softer. She chose her words more thoughtfully and paused more often. At one moment, She spoke candidly about her fear that people in public roles often lack the space to admit they're in pain. Though she didn't outright say she was hurting, her voice carried a quiet truth that didn't go unnoticed. That's when quiet murmurs began, not from gossip sites but from insiders familiar with her daily routine. People began noticing subtle changes, longer breaks between segments, slower movements, subtle grimaces when standing. Then came a rare occurrence. Gayle took several days off from CBS mornings, something she almost never did. The network called it pre-scheduled leave, but insiders suggested there was more to the story. One producer whispered that Gayle had broken down in tears off camera during a commercial break just days earlier. Another close contact shared that she had recently received surprising medical news she wasn't yet ready to share. The silence that followed from both Gayle and the network felt heavy, almost like a cloud settling in. And when she finally returned, though her smile was intact, there was an undeniable shift in her presence. Longtime viewers who knew her well could sense something deeper behind her smile, a quiet struggle. Eventually, insiders confirmed what many feared. Gayle had been diagnosed with a serious but private health issue. It was the kind of diagnosis that demands immediate changes to your habits, your energy, your priorities. She was now facing the daunting task of reassessing everything, from her daily routine to her long-term plans. This new reality forced her to question whether she could keep up the pace she had maintained for so long. Though Gayle King appeared to be handling her journey solo, she never truly was. Standing with her through every career-high personal transformation, viral moment, and whispered rumor was one constant companion, Oprah Winfrey. Their unbreakable bond didn't begin under flashing lights or at industry soirees. It took root in the hustle of local journalism, long before fame ever knocked. In 1976, Gayle hustled as a young production assistant at WJZ-TV in Baltimore, juggling scripts and behind-the-scenes tasks. At the same time, Oprah, just a few years ahead, was already becoming a standout news anchor at the very same station. That tiny Baltimore newsroom unknowingly gave birth to a friendship that would later become legendary. They didn't grow close through fame. Their bond was formed over snowed-in nights, long phone calls and shared struggles. As Gayle eventually trained at WUSA TV in Washington, D.C., before landing anchoring gigs in Kansas City and Hartford, Oprah's path rocketed toward stardom. Her journey led her to Chicago, and ultimately into global fame through The Oprah Winfrey Show. When Oprah founded The Oprah magazine in 1999, it was Gayle she asked to join as editor. And when Gayle's own talk show came to an end in 2011, Oprah stood firmly behind her as she transitioned to CBS. Their connection went far beyond TV sets and magazine covers. They stood by each other through heartbreak, public judgment, and some of life's deepest losses. Gayle's children, Kirby and Will, grew up with Oprah as more than a friend, but a trusted figure in their lives. Meanwhile, Gayle continued to be Oprah's quiet strength when the cameras were off. The public never stopped wondering, asking questions, sometimes crossing lines. Were they just best friends? Was there something more? In a 2010 Barbara Walters interview, Oprah answered the speculation with honesty, calling Gayle the sister she never had. And when those same rumors resurfaced in 2024, both women brushed them off with the ease of people long past needing validation. They didn't chase labels or explanations. Their bond was deeper than that. They built something real, grounded in loyalty, not appearances. When Gayle shocked fans with her dramatic weight loss in 2024, rumors swirled, suggestions of Ozempic, Hollywood diets, and secrets. But behind the CBS desk was a quieter truth, a health issue, a lifestyle shift, and a plea not for pity, but for grace. In Oprah, Gayle found exactly that compassion, not judgment. They still showed up together at galas, red carpets, and interviews, in sync like always. But there was a subtle shift, an extra warmth in Oprah's glance, a more guarded tone in Gayle's voice. When Oprah fell ill in June 2024 with a severe stomach virus, it was Gayle who gently told the world. She delivered the news with poise, acknowledging it had been scary and serious. It was a glimpse into their bond, one friend publicly protecting another through something deeply human. But what most didn't realize was that Gayle wasn't only speaking about Oprah's scare. She was quietly alluding to her own private battle, one that impacted her health, her energy, and her place at CBS. At nearly the same time, CBS made headlines for a controversial shakeup. The morning show was moved from its glamorous Times Square studio to a more understated West Side location. What seemed like a simple switch in location for most anchors struck Gayle differently. To her, it landed like a stinging betrayal. Rather than walking away, she had just recommitted for another year, ready to ride out yet another wave of chaos and budget slashing at the network. Yet nowhere in the fine print was there a mention of the demotion. The office she'd nurtured, over the years transforming it into a professional haven, was quietly reassigned, and the silence around it only fueled her frustration. Her anger wasn't rooted in ego, it stemmed from principle. After all she had sacrificed for CBS, being blindsided was a deep cut. Through scandals, massive internal shifts, and heartbreaking national stories, Gayle had remained a stabilizing force. Still, no courtesy call came her way. So behind closed doors, she made it crystal clear she wouldn't be tucked away and forgotten. Every part of that studio space was something she'd earned with blood, sweat, and time, and standing firmly beside her in that moment, none other than Oprah Winfrey. Those close to both women confirmed what many suspected. Gayle had drawn a line. If CBS wanted her presence, they had to recognize her power, not shrink her down to a statistic. And Oprah didn't just support that message, she amplified it. Their friendship wasn't just iconic, it was unshakable. It wasn't only their shared past that made them strong. It was how they lifted one another in every season. Oprah always said Gayle's joy for her wins surpassed even her own excitement. And Gayle often called Oprah the kindest soul she'd ever encountered. When Oprah built her own media empire, she made sure Gayle was by her side. And when CBS gave Gayle space to soar, Oprah clapped the loudest from afar. For years, speculation swirled around their relationship, but instead of reacting with outrage, they handled it with laughter and grace. They didn't hide, they explained nothing, because real friendship doesn't beg for validation. Even during moments that tested public perception, like the Charlie Rose fallout or the Kobe Bryant interview controversy, Oprah stood solidly by her friend. She held her ground while others stepped away. In return, Gayle matched that loyalty with tireless commitment and unwavering class. Her resilience, laced with humor and grit, kept her standing tall year after year. But life was starting to whisper something different now. Change was in the air. With Oprah subtly speaking of slowing her pace, Gayle began wondering if she should too. Health issues had a way of sharpening perspective. It wasn't just about discomfort or scary news. It was the legacy, the clock ticking, and the memories still waiting to be made. And despite the glamour, smiles for cameras, gold heels, and designer handbags, Gayle couldn't ignore what her body was trying to say. Her next chapter was knocking. This wasn't just about CBS anymore. It was about what life could look like without scripts, deadlines, and sunrise calls. But the network wasn't making her choice simple. With ratings dragging behind their competitors, CBS was in panic mode. Executives were frantically slicing $500 million, and the mood in the newsroom had hit rock bottom. Everyone was uneasy, waiting to see who would exit next. Amidst all that noise, Gayle didn't fade. She took center stage once again, but in a way no one could have guessed. Live, in the middle of a relaxed interview with podcast queen Alex Cooper, she surprised everyone. It was supposed to be casual and easy, but Gayle, ever the pro, turned the tables with her trademark sparkle of confidence and wit. She threw Cooper off by tossing out a bold, cheeky question about her marriage. On air, nobody saw the question coming, not even the producers, who scrambled to interrupt her via earpieces. But Gayle wasn't just causing chaos for entertainment. She was making a deeper statement. She aimed to prove these raw, unscripted moments were exactly what audiences longed for. Genuine, daring, and completely unscripted, this was Gayle at her finest. If the network needed a reason to remember her incredible range, she gave them a powerful one. She could shift effortlessly from intense political grilling to light-hearted jokes like flipping a switch. That viral moment with Anderson Cooper wasn't an error. It was all part of her calculated magic. She was showing yet again that she had the blueprint for unforgettable television. Behind the radiant smiles and quick wit on air, major transformations were happening in her world. Though still faithfully showing up for her viewers each day, she was quietly preparing for a once-in-a-lifetime mission. Coming this spring, Gayle King is expected to blast off into orbit with Blue Origin's groundbreaking all-women crew. Yes, at the age of 70, she'll be donning a spacesuit beside household names and powerful pioneers. She'll be joined by pop sensation Katy Perry, journalist Lauren Sanchez, NASA's Aisha, activist Amanda Anduyan, and producer Kieran Flynn. Together, they'll ride NS-31 past the Kármán line, 62 miles up, into real-deal outer space. The rocket will soar at triple the speed of sound, where they'll briefly unstrap and float in zero gravity. This mission holds historical weight. Not since 1963's solo female flight has something so bold taken place. For Gayle, this trip isn't just about reaching space. It's a deeply personal milestone. After decades of delivering the news, she'll finally get to be the headline. She won't just tell stories from afar anymore. She'll live one that echoes across generations. But not all of Gayle's epic tales have taken place above the clouds. Some are rooted in the heart. Recently, her son, William Bumpus Jr., now 37, tied the knot with Elise Smith in a wedding for the ages. And where else would it be held but at the grand home of Oprah Winfrey herself? Gayle often refers to Will as her favorite, jokingly of course, since he's her only child. She didn't hide her joy for a second when it came to welcoming Elise into the family. Their love story was sprinkled with fate. They met, got engaged, and married all on a second. Gayle told the tale live on air, glowing as wedding photos danced across the screen. Naturally, Oprah played host with charm and humor, even teasing Gayle about her discount venue. Though the estate was jaw-dropping, it was Will's vows that melted Gayle's heart completely. He said, "I know the man I am, but with you, I know the man I want to be." It was a moment that gave her chills and a reminder of what really matters. As she watched her son begin a new chapter, she too felt ready to embrace her next. Despite the celebrations, career highs, and upcoming spacewalks, Gayle had something weighing on her spirit. She'd recently received a medical diagnosis, private yet life-altering. Combined with growing uncertainty at CBS and her pull toward family, her focus started to shift. She wasn't necessarily leaving journalism behind, but the daily grind? That might be a different story. The constant pressure, the ratings hustle, the early mornings, maybe that part had run its course. So when whispers began to swirl about her stepping down, the public pushed back in disbelief. Could it really be true? Gayle, the unwavering, morning anchor for over 10 years, stepping away. She's been the calm during chaos, the trusted face we wake up to, the voice for every kind of story. But if Gayle was preparing to exit, she wasn't going to slip out quietly. She'd do it her way, with elegance, conviction, and a clear message. She isn't disappearing, she's transforming. Trading studio lights for stars, mics for memories, breaking news for breakthroughs. From seasoned interviewer to starbound dreamer, from mother to mother-in-law, from question asker to answer seeker, now she's finally asking herself, what kind of life does she want? One where health and happiness come first, where each moment is fully lived, a new rhythm with less pressure and more freedom to just be. She's still connecting with millions, just not before sunrise anymore. As she gets ready to float above Earth, laugh with her daughter-in-law, celebrate her son's love, and possibly say farewell to CBS, she's making a powerful statement. That change doesn't mean loss. It can be the ultimate prize. Maybe this isn't about leaving something behind, but rising into something that feels just right,